Brought to you by Make Fun Network.
Welcome to the top 5 of death, where listeners vote, and everyone dies. Listen and die.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Top 5 of Death. I'm your host, Matt, fighting his own fucking cat who won't leave him alone, Bistany. Joined this week by Buff Chick Dip Will. Buff Chick Dip Will, how are you?
Doing just fine, Matt. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. Joined here by the world's most interesting Sam, coming to us from a remote island off the coast of Nicaragua. He's frozen
he's not.
now. That's so funny. He just looks like he's sitting there.
Like a handsome little boy.
Full disclosure, Sam's Starlink connection is not the best. He could be gone forever from this point on. He is frozen on our screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, which the video will be posted. He moved him. Well, we're going to deal with this best we can. Sam will be in and out as Starlink decides to work. Someone tweet at Elon Musk and let him know that we are trying to record a very, very moderately successful podcast, and we need his help. But until then, you back?
for the moment, you know, Will and I were dicking around, just chatting for like 15 minutes before we started recording, and I think I dropped out once. But now that we've started recording, I've mostly just been gone. So
I think that's a problem because I think it must change how it's sucking up your data.
I blame Elon Musk directly.
I do too. Yeah. But you're back now, Sam. Where are you?
I'm in South Lake Tahoe.
That's enough. That's enough for everybody. He's in South Lake Tahoe, and then Starlink said, "F that."
Sounds like a beautiful place.
It does.
Yeah, thanks for filling in all the space. Yeah, South Lake Tahoe. There's a lot of trees around.
Okay, and that's what's fucking everything up.
That's what's fucking everything up. So
Sam,
we'll
are you
see.
pro deforestation at this point?
Specifically for my own personal internet connection, yes.
It's what's holding us back, everybody. I want everyone to go outside, cut down a tree. Just cut down a tree. Don't do anything with it. Just let it die. Just let it die where it is. It'll be a lesson to other trees that think about growing.
I mean, there's enough forest fires around here that maybe that should be considered. And also, you know what I can't get around here?
What?
A bottle of water.
Bottle of water?
Yep. Single-use plastic water bottles are banned in South Lake Tahoe.
Wow, I bet that's really making a fucking difference.
There's got to be a very convenient alternative, though, right?
There is a can of water that I can buy.
Oh, liquid death?
Ugh.
Yeah, not carbonated, just straight up canned water.
Well, you cut out again. To clarify, liquid death is not carbonate. They have carbonated options, but traditionally it is exactly, I don't know, made for the market that you're in. It's like, hey, don't use plastic, use cans. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, wildly successful, stupid idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I am right now. Apologies for dropping out so much. Hopefully this connection can stabilize. If I do drop out, just feel free to fill in what you think I was going to say, and we'll go with that.
Okay, we all heard it. That's the rule for the rest of the show.
That'll be canon.
God, I can't wait for you to drop out.
You're not gonna have to wait long.
No, I don't think so either. Well, how's everything going otherwise?
Honestly, really good. Things are going great. We're starting work with our third shelter. They're actually technically a rescue. We're starting that today.
Cool.
Starting to work with a rescue called Scoot to the Stars. And thank you for repping, Will. Appreciate that, man.
Will's repping.
Pimping it.
Working with Scoot to the Stars, and they are
too many fat dogs. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, Scoot rehabilitates and rehomes dogs that need like wheelchairs and that sort of thing. So
I was right.
You're gonna be working with a lot of dogs just rolling around. Actually, you'll appreciate this. The one dog we are working with specifically, his name is Wilbur.
I'm making a face on the show. Wilbur.
But yeah, man, dude. Prior to this, I think last time we talked, I was in Portland, which is not my jam. But after Portland, we went to Astoria, which is my fucking jam, and I would move there in a heartbeat. So
Is
Astoria,
that where the rich people live?
I mean, definitely, but
Yeah.
but it's also a super working class town. So it's weird. It's this very weird mix. So this is where they filmed The Goonies, and Short Circuit, and so the Goonies house.
Are those roaming gangs from Short Circuit still around? The Los Locos?
Terrifying.
Yeah, they're down by the docks. You can rent the house from Short Circuit on Airbnb, by the way.
Airbnb, it's a different service that Sam discovered out there.
Yep.
It's bed and Cumfest. Sorry. Early in the show.
Oh no.
That's cool.
What a weird time
I'm
to
glad to
freeze.
hear that that's going well. I'll shift this right over to Will. Will, what's new with you?
Yeah. Not a whole hell of a lot. Got to mobilize out to Jersey again tomorrow for another shit couple of weeks. But I did something I hate to do yesterday.
What's that? Take a shower? Hey.
I called the fire department on my neighbors.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Dude,
And-
you should have let me do it. I love doing that. Why the fire department, though?
Well, it was a fire-related thing.
Oh.
Now, I'm the last person to
What do
fucking
you mean
bust balls over burning brush or, having a little too big of a fire outside the season. I did that with my neighbors, and other people called the fire department on us.
Yeah.
However, my wife, Rosa, was leaving, bringing her brother somewhere, and she goes, hey, you think that fire in the neighbor's yard's a little too big? And I look out the window. It's like 15 feet high flames, really close to my property, really close to a gigantic pile of firewood. I'm talking like a 30-foot long by like 3 log deep. And then I'm like, damn, that's a crazy fire for like 10 in the morning. Then I look, and guys start carrying out armloads of construction debris. Instead of getting a dumpster, they're just burning all the old shit. And I'm like, ugh,
Dude.
that kind of sucks. And then
Yeah, 'cause what's in that
look.
debris?
So I check back again. I see him bringing out armloads of fiberglass asbestos.
Okay.
Not asbestos, but insulation.
Yeah.
Potentially asbestos containing.
But
And he
you don't
just
know.
throws it in the fire, and it goes just pure black. It like blocks out the sun, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
The trees start growing eyeballs.
It's when you burn that stuff, it is so damn toxic. I'm like, all right, I got to draw the line here. I'm not a bleeding heart tree hugger, but I am a little bit of an environmentalist, and this is just wrong. And I don't want my dog outside
Right.
inhaling this toxic shit.
Right?
So then I peered out the windows, like all inconspicuously, to
Yeah.
watch when the fireman showed up to see if he wagged his finger at him.
What,
And he
did
did.
he wag
and
it?
He wagged it. And they stopped burning the shit. And by the end of the day, there was like a mountain of fiberglass that they had set aside. And I'm like, they were going to burn all of that. It was crazy.
Are they just like dumb idiots?
They know what they're doing. But I'm sure when the fire department showed up, they're like, oh. Okay, Pablo, see? They're very nice people. When they first moved in, I went and greeted them. They cut down a bunch of trees at my request that were kept falling in my yard. But they're just trying to save money by ruining the environment
Yeah,
and
well.
killing my dog.
There you go. That's libertarianism for you. That's the problem with it. That's wild. I'd live for calling the cops. It's so fun.
I've never called the cops on someone. That's going to take a lot.
I look for a reason.
Yeah, you are definitely a male Karen.
Oh my god, it's so fun. I get
We
it.
have
Whenever
rules.
I see those videos, I'm like, hell yeah, Karen, go in on them. And they're like, look at this Karen. I'm like, yeah, dude, she's doing good. Just Karening it up good. Really, really letting her voice be known.
I think the tables are turning on these Karen videos because people are just trying to instigate so much now to get a Karen video that the internet is coming back with like, no, you're just a piece of shit, asshole.
No, you
Stop
should've
bothering people.
You should have refunded them their money, asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, excited for football. Started up. this week.
Oh yeah,
Patriots start
I
today.
think I'm already like losing in my leagues.
Probably.
Shut the fuck
I
up.
had
Lou.
I had a smooth 5-leg parlay on Thursday.
I don't know. What
All
that
you
means.
degenerates know what that means.
I definitely
Cha-ching.
don't. Let's see.
But how have you been doing, Matt?
Me, I've been doing good. Oh, I'm predicted to win. Nope, I'm not. I'm very much predicted to lose. Sorry, read that wrong. God damn it. Team Diversity Hires is going to have their first loss.
What is that? Is that supposed to be offensive, or
It's just that, hey, listen, it is what it is.
did you mix your roster
Yeah.
based on ethnicity? That would be pretty. That'd be dedication to the name.
I did it the best I could. One year
How many-
I drafted 2 people with the same last name, so I was like, well, I might as well keep going. And I had like 4 people with the same last name on like my starting roster.
How many
did
women
okay.
did you put on your team?
Oh my god, as many as I could, which was none. I should have been like, I'm drafting a woman. They're like, how? I'm like, I'm just gonna put a woman's name on there.
Mhm.
How have I been? I've been good. Work week was pretty good. Trying to see what else is out in the world of my life. I don't know. Tried to eat a little better this week, I think. I think it was better than it was worse. Just got to get a handle on my own goddamn life. The whole thing is just like out of control.
What are you eating?
It's just trash, mainly.
The raccoon diet.
Yeah, it's just I see what the raccoon eats. I go, they look pretty fit. I mean, he's climbing that fence pretty good. I couldn't do that. I'm gonna eat what he eats. Just walk around with a pizza crust in my mouth that I got from my neighbor's garbage can.
Well, you do look more cuddly.
Oh my god, yeah, I am very much in that, and I'm trying to be less cuddly and more, I don't know, less
Pointy.
health adverse.
Like Ren from Ren and Stimpy.
Pretty much. No, it's like it's so easy when you have like kids because you don't have time. Where it's just like I have to eat something and I'll just, you know what? I'll look in the cabinet. It's like, oh, mini muffins for the kid snack. I was like, all right, let's take 2 bags of mini muffins. And it's just, but I could just do that all the time. It's like I can't. I have to like just make myself something quick. And it's all habit forming. I got to like develop the habit to eat better. And I tried this week, and I did a couple days of the week. I had like a pretty stable, like just a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and stuck to that. And it was good. I felt good. I felt better. But then I got that like sweet craving. You know, that's the thing that gets you. So at the end of like dinner, I was like, I want something sweet. I've eaten good all day. I'm gonna go have a fucking Pop-Tart. And then I had the Pop-Tart. I was like, oh, I feel like shit again. It's like, what am I doing? I can't stop. They got me. The sugar has got me. But working on it. Work in progress. Everything's a work in progress.
True. I'm proud of you. Proud of you for trying.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. Other than that, Super Bowl update for me. I don't know. Actually, kind of a slow week for the Super Bowl. The polls are returning back to normal of Trump being ahead because the honeymoon phase is over and people are like, oh man. So anybody who was like, oh man, thank God, like a feasible alternative to Trump or Biden, and then time went on and went, Jesus fucking Christ, what is this woman talking about? And they go, fuck it, I'll just vote for Trump. So it's getting back there, which is nice. Can't just run on joy. People are finding out.
Do you know what is the actual percentage of undecided voters? Because that blows my mind.
I think it's
Yeah.
none, to be honest. I don't think
How
anyone's
could it
like,
be?
I haven't made up my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's horseshit. I think it's more like, I'm voting for this guy unless this other person says this like one specific thing I'm interested in. Or, also, people who are like undecided, they're just like filthy casuals when it comes to voting.
They
There's no
probably
way.
don't know who the candidates are.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It's people who just are so uninformed, they don't even know who's running. So they're like, I don't know. Everyone, and that's why the propaganda against Trump is so powerful, is because those people are just like, I don't know. I heard this guy was kind of a dick, so I'm not going to vote for him. They're like, but his policies are like, nah. So
No.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I for one like Kamala's, campaign pitch of build that wall. I think that's something
That's
that
a new thing,
Donald
yeah.
Trump has no, backing for. So
That's to Will's point, that's the other thing too. She's literally just copying his policies. Like Will just said, she's now pro-wall. She shot down the wall. She called it racist and xenophobic. And now she's pro-wall. She also came out and was like, this is my favorite thing. She came out and was like, no taxes on tips after Trump said that. You know what the funny thing is about that? With her being vice president, she was the deciding vote to continue taxing tips when it came to the fucking vote. She was the scale tipping vote to continue taxing tips. And now she's like, no, don't tax tips. She's such a fucking fraud. She's just like an absolute, like an amorphous blob to be just molded into like whatever the establishment wants. It's really creepy, to be honest.
So on the
but yeah.
topic of the taxing tips,
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of people in the service industry saying that's a bad idea. They don't want it. Is that true? I would love to hear people talk about this who are in that area in the Discord, top5ofdeath.com.
So
Because it seems like there's a lot of pushback, or is that just funded propaganda?
I actually don't know, to be honest, but I can imagine the reason why people in the service industry who are against it would be, I don't know if it's because a issue of proving income for other aspects of life. If it's like, oh, no taxes on tips, it doesn't get counted as income. And then it's like, hey, can I buy this like house or car or apply for this loan? They're like, how much money do you make? They're like, well, in reality or on paper. And it's like, well,
$8,000.
yeah, okay. I make $900 a year. So maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm sure there is a reason for it. It's like the same. I mean, everyone has an opinion and whatever, but the point of like, Canada A being like, we're gonna do this, and Canada B being like, yeah, me too. It's just wild. Her whole thing. It's just the absolute ads coming out of her saying one thing only a couple years ago and now saying the complete opposite. It's brutal. Any rational person looks at an ad like that and goes, this person's full of shit. And also, my favorite statistic is like, Democrats have been in power 12 of the last 16 years, but somehow it's only one person's fault of everything that's happening. It's like, nope, I wouldn't say that.
You
know what you got to remember, Matt?
Yeah.
Please tell me you're going to say exactly that.
The reason we all have today off, I guess except Sam, he does his own thing. You better thank a union.
Oh my God, you saw that too, huh?
The code switching is on point.
It's disgusting. You want to talk about being a racist? Imagine just talking differently to a different group of people based on the color of their cultural background. God, the soft bigotry of fucking trying not to be racist from lefty Dems is incredible. They're like,
Soft
like,
bigotry.
You can't listen. These people, yeah. I mean, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, claims that some black people don't even know what a computer is. What a fucking ignorant statement.
There's some good videos out there about that one.
There's tons of stuff. And then people are like, and again, the whole voter ID. Again, you got to pass that SAVE Act. Actually, okay, I'd say the biggest thing that happened, which was like a good positive, is they attached the SAVE Act bill, which is like enforcing like voter ID and proving that you're a U.S. citizen to vote in federal elections. They attached it to the spending bill, which means that if they don't pass a spending bill, then Congress shuts down. So it was like a good move to actually get it done. If you're against making sure people can legally vote in elections, I have to assume you are looking to cheat. I don't know what else to say about that. It makes no sense. And if your argument is like, it disenfranchises poor people, you don't know any poor people. They have IDs. They're fully functional adults. They're fucking just as good as you at whatever. They can fucking live their life just fine with their IDs that they have. If you think that they don't have voter IDs, that is yet again another example of your soft bigotry of low expectations of people that you think are marginalized or whatever. It's incredible. Incredible.
Hey, one real question.
Sure, hit me.
As I've traveled across this great country, I can't
Oh,
help
that's
but
right. You're getting
realize
like a
that
nice little temperature check.
Um,
Oh,
No.
oh God! I shouldn't have cut him.
You
off.
had to
Give him a
interrupt
roll.
him.
That's my fault. That's my fault. I won't even
Joshua,
insist.
knock it off.
Figure out what you're going to say.
okay.
Man, no. All right, go ahead.
I've noticed that there are a lot of Trump signs with different slogans. Does he have an actual slogan for this year's election?
It's still "Make America Great Again."
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the only suitable one would be "Make America Great Again."
Again.
Yeah.
Make America Great Again. Let's make it great again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board.
And does Kamala Harris have a slogan?
Yeah, to make America great again.
Make America joyful again.
Yeah.
And then there's a 3 on the top, little superset 3 cube thing.
Yeah. The only other thing I think worth talking about in our environments here is Dr. Disrespect came back to streaming after his allegations there, and told his side of everything, and it's crazy. It's crazy. So for those that don't know, basically an ex-Twitch employee just posted on Twitter one day that, like, oh, the reason why who got banned was because he was sexting a minor in the the Twitch Whispers chat, and that set off a firestorm. And it was literally also like right before he was taking a vacation. So he was like, fuck it, he just like left and went on vacation, and then like just the media went crazy, everyone calling him like a pedophile and all this stuff, and anyone being like, I'm gonna wait to see how this like pans out, or be like, I'm gonna wait to see like any evidence. Those people are just like, you're defending a pedophile. It's like, well, all you got to do is post the chats. That's all you got to do. And no one did. Even to this day, no one has. But basically, that was like a month and a half ago. But he came back and he gave his side of everything, and it was pretty incredible. If you're interested in that, you should go watch his video. It explains quite a lot, way more than any of the accusations ever explained, because he has direct knowledge of it because he was involved, versus everyone else being like, it's been reported and insiders say. Insiders
And they're all
close-
referencing each other.
Yes.
It's a circular fucking...
Yeah. But it's pretty incredible.
You know what fucking threw me off when I just lost all faith in news is when they started citing Reddit users.
Yeah.
One Reddit user said, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
who fucking cares?
Anytime,
It's probably a bot.
100%. Anytime any news source says, sources close to blah, blah, blah claim X, no. That shouldn't even be allowed to be printed.
Yep.
It's such a fucking weapon at this point. It's disgusting. But Dr. Disrespect is back. I was pumped. I don't know. I'm a Dr. Disrespect fan. I think he's the best streamer there is. He came back. He did not disappoint. It was very funny. He had so many people waiting on bated breath to hear what he had to say, but the first thing he did is played Wordle. It was awesome.
Well, that should only take like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
If you're good.
If you're good. But anyway. Yeah, so that's that. Let's see here.
We had a big winner last week.
Yeah, I won, which is fun.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I won the...
Let's hear that prepared death.
Why don't we's. So I'm looking at the list now. I'm gonna try to run through this. I'm gonna give it the old prov. Let me see here. Sam, give me a location.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right. Will won a trip to Las Vegas, Nevada. He won it by entering a contest on trying to reimagine healthy junk food. And Will came up with a healthy junk food called the Carrot Cuck. And it's purposely spelled that way. C-U-K with carrot in front of it. The Carrot Cuck. And basically what it is it's a way to eat junk food, but through the active art of cuckery. So what happens is you watch someone else eat your junk food, and that gives you the same satisfaction as eating the junk food itself, but you never actually eat it. So it's called the carrot cuck, which actually I think is a great idea, and I'm glad I came
Fantastic.
up with it. So through carrot cuckery, Will has successfully saved a ton on healthcare costs for those being the cucks, but the people who are cucking other people have had a massive decline in health. But it's okay. It's a give and take. It's a step in the right direction, everyone. So he went to Las Vegas, Nevada, and he was going up to he was driving to get his award, and he pulled into a convenience store because he wanted to get himself a nice carbonated beverage. We walked in, and the first thing he noticed was there was a long, long line. And he said, "Oh man, this is gonna take forever." So he went up and picked up his favorite beverage, Bonk from Kittredge Variety in Haverhill, Massachusetts, and he got in the line. The line not moving. Will was very nervous. He thought he was going to miss his award ceremony. He was so excited. He worked so hard on Carrot Cuck, and he did not want to miss it. But the problem was there was only one cashier in the whole building, and he said, "God damn it! Why don't we have more cashiers these days?" Turns out the cashiers weren't being paid a lot, and how were they making their extra money? By cucking other people with their health food. So they were all fat and diabetic, and they were bedridden. So he said, "Oh my God, I forget it." He put the beverage back and he ran out, thirsty AF. So he says, "I got to check into my hotel before I get to this award." So he goes to his hotel. He's staying at the the Mirage. That's a hotel, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a swanky place. So Will checks into the Mirage. He opens the door. What does he find? One sexy ass robot just sitting there, dusting away there with like a little French maid outfit, just bent over, her little big old robot ass sticking out. Just looks like two fucking gas tanks from a motorcycle stuck to each other. And he's like, "Ooh, man, look at that." Will is one sex-addicted person. So he looked at that. He was like, "Oh, hamana." And the robot turned around and said, "Sorry, didn't see you there. Don't mind me. I'm just cleaning up. Tee-hee." And then when she said tee-hee, her left shoulder strap for her French maid dress popped off, and then her fucking big old robot titty just popped out. And the robot titty just looked like let me see what it was the receptacle for a dustbuster. Just two receptacle parts of a dustbuster titties, but one popped out, and Will was like, "Damn, girl." And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry," and she put it back on, and she continued dusting, and Will said, "No, I have to make it to the rewards show." So he put on his best suit, smashed his boner away, and ran down to the presenting center. And he ran down there, and he opened it up, and what did he find? Nothing. There was nobody there. He didn't understand. He said, "What the hell's going on? I fucking submitted to the contest that I read in the newspaper, and I won. And I was supposed to be here. I got my hotel room, I got everything. The problem was he submitted it to an article from an unreliable news source, because we don't have reliable news sources. So he entered and won a contest that was a fake. It was Russian propaganda, which is a new thing again for some fucking reason. And he was like, "God damn it, the Russians! It's always the Russians." So then Will, missing his opportunity to bang the hot robot maid, very thirsty because he could not get his bonk from Kittredge Variety in Haverhill, Massachusetts, because there wasn't enough cashiers, decided that was enough. He wanted to write a letter. The problem was he couldn't get online. There was no internet where he was. He said, "What the fuck?" So he called the front desk. He goes, "Excuse me, the internet's not working in my room." She goes, "Yeah, I know. The ISP is having a negotiating problem with the hotel, and it's a big old thing." He's like, "God damn it. Internet should be a public utility, and this should just be, everyone should have access to it. It should be taken out of our taxes. And that'd be a nice thing to do. It'd be great. People would have access. And it could be somehow provisioned so it's completely deregulated, so the government has no say on what the hell happens on it." But with that, Will said, whatever. I'm going to go back up to my room. Maybe I'll call the maid over. So he went up to the room. Maid still there. He walks in. Maid just sitting in the bed, making the bed, if you will. Robot just laying there. Will slides in the bed and goes, oh, why don't you clean this? And Will pulls out his dink, and the maid goes, Jesus Christ, that's filthy. And she just starts scrubbing it so fucking hard, and just like, and he goes, ah, and she scrubs it, she's scrubbing all the fucking caked on dirt from his dick being just, for some reason, always in dirt, and just fucking rips his dick clean off. And then she's like, there, it's clean. But now there's blood everywhere, and there's getting blood on his legs, and the robot can't stop. She's programmed to clean. So the more bloody Will gets, the more she just fucking abrasively scrubs him. And basically, the next day, what do we find? A polished skeleton of Will just laying in the bed, dead, because it got cleaned to death by the sex robot. That's Will. Charles, who's not here, by the way. Give me another location, Sam.
Flint, Michigan.
All right, so Charles, being the activist he is, went to Flint, Michigan to help with the water problem there. And he gets there, and he has there's a protest going on. He goes, "Everyone, look at this! I have a piece of media to show you." And he has a whole thing set up, and he's got a screen there, and he goes to cast it onto the screen, and he can't. He goes, God damn it, what the hell? There's no seamless display casting here. He goes, all right, forget the media. Let me just tell you what I'm here for. Listen. And he goes on and on about why there needs to be more nuclear energy. And everyone's on board. Everyone's like, yeah, why don't we have more nuclear energy? That makes the most sense. So he starts gathering support, and now he's this big figurehead in Flint, Michigan, that's very pro-nuclear. And he's setting up another event to initially challenge the powers that be to build more nuclear plants. However, no one can get there. It's so popular that the roads are completely locked. They're jammed. There's been no ability to reduce traffic slowdowns at all there. It's just like absolute gridlock, and no one can go anywhere. So Charles, being the progressive thinker that he is, he takes his nuclear message and he says, listen, nuclear can wait. There's a more important, pressing issue. We need bullet trains. And then everyone goes, what are you talking about? He goes, listen, there's too many cars. We need bullet trains. And everyone goes, you're an idiot. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the topography. We can't do bullet trains. He goes, no, bullet trains. And no one can change his mind. And everyone goes, what about the nuclear? He goes, forget it. We'll never get there. But we can make a bullet train. Everyone calls him crazy. He becomes obsessed. He becomes obsessed with bullet trains. So he rents a house in Flint, Michigan, which is incredibly cheap because the property values are fucking trash. And no one sees him for months. No one sees him for months. And finally, someone decides to do a wellness check on Charles. He's in the basement of this house, and he's built a model bullet train that he's obsessed with. And he's become one of those people that just build model trains. And there's trains everywhere. But they're all bullet trains. And what happens is, unconvincingly, he has so many bullet trains running in his house that the kinetic energy becomes its own energy source, more potent and more clean than nuclear. Thus, Charles has become the cure for our energy problems. But with that, he is no longer a human being. He is he is made of pure energy, which I think technically means he died. That is a questionable one. I think we would consider Dr. Manhattan to have died. I don't understand. I don't know. It's a gray area, but I think he's dead. In my story, he's dead. It could be argued that he's not because he's pure energy, but he's dead. Also, they found a bunch of Asian porn cassette VHS tapes in the house. Just putting that in there. It's a little footnote. Anal Asians, volume 1 through 6. were there. And that's how everyone died.
Didn't Dr. Manhattan
Well
date
done.
like a 16-year-old? Can we fact check this?
In the comic book?
No, in real
or
life.
the
Yes,
actor?
in the yes, in the
Was he
comic
played
book.
by Jerry Seinfeld? Because the daughter of the other superhero, right?
I think so. I never
Maybe.
read the comic books, but I believe I saw this online. This is one of those things of like, is everyone okay with this?
Come on, it was the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, I guess it was.
You can just do that
perfectly fine
stuff.
then.
I think, yeah, because he's dating the daughter of this other hero who is like a little bit risque there, and I believe being the daughter, she was assumed to be like a teenage girl. But he's beyond our comprehension, everybody. Okay, you don't understand him. That's like if Station came to Earth and just started banging 16-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be like,
I mean,
"Oh,
that would
he's
be
just
fine.
above our conception of reality." Yeah,
That'd be perfectly fine.
Station shows up to court your daughter. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Station.
No, he'll either, depending on what form he shows up, he'll either split in two or join in the one. He's got that big ol' ass.
Then it'll split her in two.
We're
am I
talking
right?
top 5 personal injuries. Hey, come on,
Hey.
come on! This guy's coming
Oh.
from Starlink.
Actually, you know what? While you were giving your death, I decided to try to just join my phone's hotspot because I have 1 bar of 5G, and it has proved to be more stable than my Starlink. So, here we go.
Yeah, I mean the audio is definitely more stable. Your video, you just look like you look like pure energy. Is basically you just look like a pixelated man.
It's probably
fine.
better
We'll-
just to
we'll
have my
work on it.
shit video and decent audio.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I think like
I was gonna say, just click the video off if you have to.
yeah, you could do that.
Let's try it.
Might not be a bad idea.
Ooh, now I don't have to wear
You there?
clothes. at
Live
all.
tech support, folks. This is what you get here at the Top 5 in Death.
Oh my god, you sound 1,000 times better without the video on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that.
Sweet, good idea, Will.
So,
Yeah,
so
perfect.
what was the topic?
Top 5 personal injuries. We're talking about our own anecdotal stories of injuries here. So, you know what, Sam? Why don't you go first? Because I'm interested to see what your personal injuries are.
I got them. I did give each of these a title, and my number 5 is called "Ow My Teeth."
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, my teeth.
Ow my teeth. Yeah, I would have been probably 8 years old, and I had my best friend growing up lived on the same street as me, but he was significantly older. He was like 5 years older than me. So yeah, I don't know. We were just friends, and we just had a weird age difference.
Curious to see how your teeth get hurt.
So, so I'm sucking this guy's dick, and then all of a sudden, no. So, yeah. Anyways, we were just riding bikes one day, and he's riding way faster than me, and the neighborhood that I grew up in was on a series of steep hills, and I think you can probably see where this is going. I'm just trying to keep up, and I'm going downhill pretty much as fast as possible. Like pedaling downhill, which is just such a fucking terrible idea. And growing up in New England, the hills not only are steep and windy, but they're full of potholes. So hit a pothole,
yeah.
go right down directly on my face, and I shatter my my front top tooth on the right. I don't know which one you call it, and then my bottom tooth just beneath it as well. Just fucking brutal. And so I'm probably like 6 blocks from home or something like that, and some random guy comes out of his house and he's like, holy shit. And so they brought me into the house and called my parents or whatever, but I mean those teeth were just they were destroyed. So there was a number of a number of various, I don't want to call them surgeries, but like basically I had to have like caps made and like remade, and it sucked because for the longest time, the cap on my front tooth, like as it aged, like it like discolored. And it was the same on the bottom tooth as well. So like I had a lot of like super self-conscious issues about my teeth because they were especially right in the front. And I got them redone by Kaylee's cousin
I wonder
who
what
was a
that's like.
dentist. Yeah, I know. If only there was someone here who could relate.
Couldn't relate to anything like that.
No way. So my Kaylee's cousin Elena, she wound up fixing my teeth, and this was probably like 7 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. It wasn't that long ago, but when she did it, like she was like, how do they look? And then I cried. I don't know if you can relate to that part, but just like seeing your mouth or your teeth or whatever and not being like disgusted by them, it was a good moment. But yeah, I broke the shit out of my teeth, and
I look like the people I judge.
I'm a real boy now. Yeah, that's my number 5 on my teeth.
On my teeth. No, that's a good one. I wish I could have shared in that joy of being like, oh wow, like after years of social stigma, like it's finally been like lifted off my shoulders. But the problem is, like, when they gave me my first denture, the fucking gums were like that purple elderly color. And they said, doesn't that look great? I went, the gums are a different color. And they went, what? I go, what do you mean, what? Look. And I had to like smile. I was like, the tops are purple and the bottoms are pink.
Oh no.
Like a red pink, like a healthy young red pink. I said, I think I told him, I go, you gave me corpse teeth. and then they were really nice about it. But like, I was kind of upset. I just spent a lot of money and went through a lot of stuff to like be like, to have the big reveal be like this. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I get it. Typically, these are for elderly people, okay? I am, like, what am I, 30? I was 34 at the time, 35. I'm not that old. I'm not an elderly person, but they were actually really cool. They were like, you are 100% correct. We're so sorry. They actually had someone from their office take my denture with me to the place in the same town where they make the denture and be like, you guys have to fix this now. And they were like, yeah, okay, no problem. To them, they were like, yeah, no big deal. And they fixed it, and I have what I have now, which is like much better. Then I was like, oh, well, that's a relief. But now I was so relieved that I didn't just pay friggin' $25,000 for frickin' the teeth of an old woman off the Titanic.
Listen, they could have just
Secondhand.
dyed your gums instead.
Oh my god, I don't even know how that would happen. I would hate that so much. But I get it.
I could just see you, Sam. You said there was discoloration at the, where they filled it in, just going in before school with white out, trying to make it all uniform.
Yeah. Let's see
Or
here.
I can just make the rest of my teeth
mine
yellow.
is pretty good now.
Yeah.
Start smoking.
Gotta yellow those teeth.
So I can tell from reactions that that my audio is like a little delayed from when I'm speaking. So it's probably better than me dipping out every 4 seconds, but if my timing seems a little bit off, I think that's kind of what's going on.
You sound fine to me from like my
No,
side of it.
I noticed it, but we can work with it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think it was like that
Riverside
before
sucks.
anyway.
Riverside.
Anyway. Riverside. You know what? I'll go next because I have also a tooth story. Number 5 is shattered tooth. And I've told the story before. The problem is I've been doing the show for fucking like 11 years. I don't really have any other like new personal injury stories that haven't organically come up throughout the history of the show. But the difference is Will's here now, and Will knows a person who was part of the story. So this is when I shattered my tooth trying to do bicep curls in Steve Como's brother's bedroom. So I was over at Steve Como's house. That's for Will. We were kids because he lived down the street from me when I lived on 8th Ave. And his brother had like weights in his room. So like we went up into his brother's room to like lift weights. And man, what a fucking dumb thing. These are like old school, like the bars are steel. And we put a
What
bunch
are they made of
weight.
now? Noodles?
Yeah, they're made of noodles. They haven't lifted. Well, Will, I can tell you haven't hit the gym in a while. Okay, so you listen.
No,
they're
my
noodles.
job is physical.
Yeah, well, listen. They're made out of noodles. All right. So you're right.
Sorry.
So we put a bunch of weight on this curling bar, just like a single arm curling bar, not a double arm, just a single arm bicep curl. And we put like two 10-pound things on each, so it's like 40 pounds, and we're like basically 14-year-old kids. And I'm like, I can do this. So we loaded it up. I like sat. I had like, in a position to like do a bicep curl with like, my elbow kind of like resting on the inner part of my thigh while I try to fucking curl this bar. And I'm fucking trying my goddamn hardest. I am fucking with all my might. And I got some decent sized pythons, baby, okay? You can't see on the screen. Look at this fucking. I got big arms for a guy.
It won't even fit on the screen.
The thing we didn't do. That's right. They won't even fit on the screen. That's too fucking big. The thing we didn't do is put the fucking weight clamps on.
Oh, no.
So as I'm fucking trying my best, I get it off the fucking ground, right? So now my arm's like teetering back and forth. I'm straining. I'm trying real hard. As hard, literally, as hard as I can. The fucking weights slip off the bar, and with all that force, I bring the bar directly into my own fucking mouth. And like, I just shattered my fucking tooth, which I didn't shatter my teeth. I shattered my tooth because my old teeth were so isolated that it only hit one and just fucking destroyed it. Pieces of my teeth go everywhere. Oh, hold on, let me rephrase that. Pieces of my tooth go everywhere. And he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, no, hold on. He goes, "Oh man, are you okay?" I go, oh, it fit. And like I go and touch it's like gone. It's like a nub. It's like a nub there. And then like there's pieces of my teeth on this brother's carpet. And that sucked. So I had to get that fixed, which I did. But man, yeah. As hard with as much force as I could, just smashing myself in the mouth with a steel bar.
Fucking
like
brutal.
An idiot.
And to be fair, I don't believe you've
I know.
told this
But
story on the
if
show
this was
before.
today, I could pick that. I could curl that. You what?
I don't believe you actually have told this story on the show before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not
I'm not familiar with it.
You're on. Yeah, I thought you knew about this. Oh well.
No.
Anyway, that's what happened. So I shattered that fucking tooth, like nobody's business, by being a friggin' weak young boy. I'd curl it now though. 40 pounds on a single arm, no problem. I think.
That's the worst part about those kind of injuries. It's like, oh damn it, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, no,
then you
exactly.
Then you try to act cool, brush it off. Yeah,
No.
I think that's going to be consistent with a lot of the stories coming up.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
No, fine. I knew that. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it. I was hoping it wouldn't, but I knew it was going to. All right, Will, hit us.
All right, my number 5 is pretty short and sweet. I've had some good injuries, but not too many. Knock on wood, yeah. But one time, and I've never had issues with my back ever. But it was the day before I was starting a new job with a construction company, and I was, very eager to get into it. I was trying to dig out of a, hole in life and get back on track with things, and so I was really excited to get back into construction, swinging a hammer. It's what I love to do. I hurt my back moving a fucking mattress up the stairs.
That'll do it.
So bad. Just
That'll
one
do it.
little... It nothing like right away, but it was just like, oh, that felt a little weird. Next thing I know, I'm laying on the floor like flat on the hardwood just going, yeah, this is bad. This is really bad. I have to start my job tomorrow. And it has a happy ending. I was literally barely able to get off the floor. And then I took a couple hits of the marijuana.
Damn, boy. Smoke weed every day.
Less than 15 minutes, I was perfectly fine. So, my lesson to you guys is...
Smoke weed every day.
And it's a true story. I'm not embellishing it all. It was literally like 15 minutes or less. Hours before, I went on for a couple hours. My girlfriend at the time had Flexerol. That did nothing. It's a heavy-duty muscle relaxer.
I'll be right back.
But yeah. So, I'm very lucky, like I said, to not have had back problems or injuries ever, because I know they can compound and just make a mess of your everyday life.
How old were you when you when this happened to you?
8. I think I was probably like 30, 28, 30 age.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Soon as you hit 30, it's all downhill from there, Will. It's all downhill from there.
Pretty much. But a lot of what I've done for work, from my late 20s till, I don't know, recently when I became more of a manager, was all physically based. So I got a good base. I might not look like I'm in shape, but I can go.
Well, if you're doing construction, then you're probably doing a lot of like really weird movements, carrying like bizarrely shaped things all the time.
Yeah, I remember one time where at one of the sites I was at, we're inside this old place that used to make depleted uranium ammunition, and we were cleaning out this part of the place that had all these giant pipes. And there was this one pipe that was probably like 4 feet tall, inch thick steel. I think they weighed it later. It was like 240 pounds. And I ended up getting it up on my shoulder and carrying it to where it needed to go, because I didn't want to go all the way across the building to get the forklift. Mm-hmm. And somebody saw me and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, reaching my personal best.
Hitting a new PR, bro.
It was the best. I love that. I need to get back into it. Now that my job is mostly at a desk, I gotta find alternatives to exercising those weird muscles.
You can just help friends move all the time. You're like, anybody need help moving?
Fuck
I'm here.
Luckily, I don't have friends who move a lot anymore. That was more of a, derelict era.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at you, Justin, my brother-in-law. They moved like every year for 6 or 7 years. And he had one of those massive CRT TVs that were like 30 inches, weighed 250 pounds. Just a nightmare to try to move anywhere. Barely fit through a door frame.
It's 2021.
After the third time, after the third time moving that thing, I go, "I'm not moving this again. You need to sell this and get like a plasma or LCD, LED, whatever." I go, "That's it. We're done."
That's fair. That's a good friend. A friend that helps you move. That's a quality friend, especially if you have a CRT TV.
And he repaid the favor, because when I bought my house and needed to move in, well, we can get to that a little later.
Okay.
But I got the help. I needed help moving into my house when I first bought it, which was kind of humiliating, but
no, I have been there. This is not on my list, but at some point I had tennis elbow, and not from playing tennis, from trying CrossFit once.
We know what.
But yeah, I couldn't grip anything, like anything, and so I was running a workshop, and people would come and stay at the house that the workshop's at, and they would have their luggage, and it would be like.
And we're going to... Sorry. You
you're
ducked
good.
out a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there'd be someone that would show up with like a huge suitcase, and instead of like helping, I'd just like look at them and be like, "Well, good luck with your giant suitcase. By the way, can you carry mine for me as well?"
I've got this super big problem with my elbow.
Oh, too funny. Do you wanna do Matt's number 4?
Do it for him? Yeah, but before that, let me get into our ad reads for this episode. And the first one here is going to be from a very, very great company. Glad to have them on board. Let's hear from them now.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan and Morgan and Morgan and Morgan and
Morgan
Morgan
and
and
Morgan
Morgan
and
and
Morgan
Morgan
and
and Morgan 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 and Morgan.
Why does this sound?
Thank you very much, Morgan and Morgan. I had to seek that out.
Listen, I'm glad this is queued up because there's been a few hiccups this episode, and they're on me. But and then there's the sabbatical that Matt has to take mid episode.
The sabbaticals. There he is. But yeah, it was funny because ever since like seeing those commercials, I've always said like done that to my wife. I'd be like, yeah, Morgan and Morgan and Morgan and Morgan and Morgan. So I was like looking for it. I'm like, somebody else has to have thought this too.
Sorry, the baby's having a time.
Oh.
It's constipated.
So yeah. Oh. But I think that brings us around to our number 4s.
Hit it. Sam?
All right, this is the time I got my dick caught in the elevator. Anyways, no. My number 4 is called "Sorry, Aunt Dottie." So what's funny? What's funny is going back and thinking about
just
these
go
things,
on.
like you think that like you're like, oh, and these memories of like being watched by like, you know, aunts or uncles or something like that. You're like, oh, they were so old then, but now I'm like, oh no, they were significantly younger than I am right now in this story. So during the summers growing up as a kid, my Aunt Dottie used to babysit me, and one time I decided I would go down to the park and practice jumping off of swings, and just seeing like I could go a little higher.
Fucking
I could go
cool.
a little higher. Which was one of my favorite pastimes. And I did it a whole bunch, but yeah, one time I just decided to fucking go for it. And I launched myself off at like the highest possible point. Came down directly with my wrist under my body. And I broke both bones in my wrist so much that the bones were sticking out the side of my arm. And my grandmother, yeah,
Jesus.
It was kind of brutal. I remember at the time, like, it didn't hurt, you know, because you were in so much shock. You're just like, oh, that happened.
Yeah.
But I had to call my aunt, and you know, I remember her being like very. She was like, I don't know, afraid she was going to get in trouble because this happened like under her watch. I was like, I'm the one that.
And she was drunk.
And she was wicked drunk. No, but I remember she had to call my parents and be like, yeah, so Sam might need to go to the hospital. You know, it seems like he jumped off a swing. And my mom came to pick me up, and she was like, yeah, let's go. So that was the only time that I ever went under anesthesia. Because they, you know, put me under to fix my arm, and I remember getting up and they gave me fucking free ice cream, so that was pretty dope. But in all seriousness, they were like, this break was terrible, and I think I was in a cast for 10 months, something like that, fucking long ass time. But when the cast came off, not only did my arm stink, not only was my arm fucking disgusting under that cast, but I had grown black hair on my arm, which was fucking wild because I was, again, like 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that change of hair color shocked me too.
So yeah, not to step on anyone's stories, but if you had a cast involved, like, how fun was it to just peel off all the fucking dead skin from underneath that cast? Or nope,
Yeah,
just me.
I have a cast coming
Fun.
All right.
I like sticking things down the cast to scratch it.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just shaking out all that loose
Skeeter bites
skin.
sure are fun to scratch.
Gross.
They hum
all right,
like
Will.
angels.
I think you were second, Matt.
Oh, that's right. I was second. Stupid me. What did I put for my second one? Oh yeah, no leg bendy. That's what I called this one. I don't know if this is like so much of like an injury as it is like a result of actions. But I the weekend before or the day before I was starting a new job at the Discovery Channel store at the Rockingham Mall. I went
It's so many jobs at the mall.
Oh my god, yeah. I went and worked at a haunted house the day before at night, and I was just like, I'd never worked there before, so I was just like, I'll take whatever spot you need filled. And they gave me the spot as a scarecrow where I would like crouch down and pop up, and that's what I did for like 6.5 to 7 hours straight. Go to my spot, crouch, and spring up over and over and over again. And I was crushing it. I was destroying people. I had a good time. I was doing a good job. Didn't even take any breaks. They're like, you need a break? I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, you should really take a break. I'm like, no. Let's keep going. I woke up the next day. My legs were solid. Both of them. It was like Frankenstein learning to walk. Like, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, it was just from basically just blasting my quads for 7 hours straight. It was insane. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I have to fucking start a new job today. So through like just sheer pain, I got ready and like got myself to the freaking mall where I like basically walked without bending my knees like a friggin' freak. Just one clod hopper after the next, just trying to maintain balance. And I walked in, I'm like, so here's the thing. I can't bend my legs because of the thing I did yesterday. I was like, but I'm here. And they were like, are you sure? Like, you can go home. I was like, no.
I gotta
What
make
were you
my
gonna say, Sam?
$7 an hour.
Yeah. I was dedicated.
Well, lucky for you, didn't they have the massage chairs in that store?
Yeah, but I don't have any. I've never sat down on one of those chairs. I don't ever have enough money.
You can't sit.
Those are expensive.
And they're free to try.
Free to try. Oh, you mean like a Brookstone?
Oh, yeah, maybe I was thinking Brookstone rather than Discovery.
Oh, yeah. No, we didn't have those chairs there. No. That if I was starting a day at Brookstone, I would have been like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure this chair works for 8 hours. So I'll see you at the end of my shift. But man, fucking, that was like, it was intense how much I could not move my, and that lasted for like a full week almost. It just very slowly came back into like motion. But when it was done, I could jump another foot in the air.
He was fucking
But,
slamming
man.
basketballs left and right.
Oh my god. You should have seen me. I was fucking jumping to work from Haverhill to Salem, New Hampshire. 2 jumps.
2 jumps.
But that sucked.
That's so that is called delayed onset muscle soreness, which is very common with legs. If you work them out in the gym, it's usually like you might be fine that day and you might be fine the next day, but it's that following day typically that's just like, what the fuck did I do to my body? So yeah, after 6 or
And
7 hours of that,
I
that's
didn't-
fucking crazy.
Yeah, and I didn't work. I never worked out at that time. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm in pretty decent shape. No, I was just like a fucking lazy piece of shit fat kid. And went and did that, and it was a fucking nightmare. But I scared the fuck out of people for an entire night. It was good.
Hey fatty, why don't you just
Worth
spring
it.
up and down?
Yeah.
Fucking scare everyone, and then you can go work your science job.
I sure will. I'll be there while I hawk the latest 3.8 megapixel digital camera That was like the hottest fucking thing around at the time.
Digital cameras.
Yeah.
And remote-controlled dinosaurs.
Yep. Yeah, that was there. And there was a fucking dog that was a speaker. That was massive there. It was kind of cool, but like, man, we couldn't keep those things on the shelves. I was like, who gives a fuck about this thing?
You guys
then I
got any
became
of
the
them dog
manager there.
speakers?
Fuck!
For fuck's sake!
Yeah. Man, I remember working there and like, we had the store manager. I was like, man, I could work here, become a store manager, and like be like set for life. That was like what I thought at the time. I make like triple what that manager probably made. I'm still like can't afford fucking food.
Yeah, but that store's out of business, so I think you made the right call.
That's true. What do you think the manager made?
At the
For
Discovery
a
store?
mall store?
Mall
And-
store
and-
manager.
2005? That's a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably say like 2008.
$55,000.
$17 an hour, $37,000 a year.
Oh, I make closer to 5 times as much.
I make at least $38,000 a year.
There you go. Yeah, so that sucked, but that's my number 4. Will?
My number 4 is, I didn't make titles, but I'll title it Wrist Break. This is a
Well,
story
what
about when
happened
I
here?
broke my wrist.
Our first repeat.
So I'm going to start this off. I'm going to tell a little bit of a story. This is a heartbreaking story for me. In Little League, I was on a championship baseball team that went undefeated and won the championship. It was fantastic. What a great thing to go through as a kid, to be able to win even your local league's championship. The next year, I go for baseball tryouts. Everybody on my team moved up to the next level, and I was held back because I was a very small kid. I was a little underdeveloped for my age, which was bullshit. So I got held back in the same league, ended up batting an average of 800, which if you know anything about baseball is obscene. I was basically smurfing, for all you young kids out there that listen. I had the greatest season of my life. I was the best player on the team by far. Just smacked the shit out of the ball. The problem was, then came time the next year, I skipped a whole league. So the skill level went up a lot faster than, I was developed in. And I still held my own. In like the second or third game of the season, I'm up at the plate, and I take an inside pitch right off the ball of my wrist. That little ball on the outside. And man, did it smart. No big deal. I took my base, went up there, and then the inning ended. I never moved on or whatever. Go back to the bench to grab my glove, and as I reached for my glove, I felt a shooting pain go up my arm, and that's, I assume, when the bone actually split.
Ugh.
And I just screamed out. Probably, I think I was 12 years old. I screamed out, "Motherfucker!" And everybody was like, "Whoa, who's this fucking kid?"
The ump comes over and ejects you for dirty mouth.
No, my mom ran over because she knew that's not how I should act, and was
My
like,
young man
"Something's
doesn't
wrong."
curse.
So yeah, nevertheless, they go in. The wrist was broken, needed a cast. Not too bad, but enough to keep me out of the baseball season. And then the following year was high school league, and at this point I had missed 2 levels, and it ended my baseball career because I just wasn't good enough.
Fucking
Bummer.
brutal.
Total bummer.
Brutal.
I don't.
That was my first experience with a cast, and like, super fun to scratch underneath there.
Yeah, real stinky. I don't have a lot of sports related injuries on my list because it definitely wasn't what you would refer to as a sportsman.
Who, you? What a shocker.
I picture him as the kid from Little Giants that was wrapped in like foam mattress pad.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was a tough turn of luck. Just couldn't check the bet, back fast enough and caught it in the wrong place. And that was the
That'll
last
do it.
official baseball game I ever played.
Oof. I hate that.
I could have been a contender.
The little wrist nub thing. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure it has a name. But fucking I
Wrist nub.
hated having that. I hated having that tattooed. That was like my least favorite thing because I don't.
I was
like
gonna say,
even when
I
people
just had it.
touch that.
I just had it tattooed, and it fucking sucks so much. It was the worst
Yeah.
spot, easily.
Like it didn't like hurt too much, but it's so uncomfortable that like I just not a fan of wrist nubs.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind because it hurt a lot. All right, Sam, number 3.
All right. Let's see how delayed my my fucking vocals seem. It's from what I can tell based on your reactions. I'm talking and then it takes about 6 seconds to get to you, which is just fucking brutal. So, well, I'm going for a very listenable episode.
The post will remove the dead air.
Oh, no, all right. All right, this one is
Not
called...
on the video though.
They'll just freeze.
This one is called Choke Slam from Hell.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah.
Hey, do I sound like trash?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the only way I can fix this is if I leave, but I'm recording it, so now I can't. I hate Riverside. I hate using this. I hate this thing so much.
Oh, Riverside.
Hold on. We'll be right back. And we're back, everyone. After some technical difficulties, we switched over to good old clean feed. Nice, reliable clean feed. Audio only, as the Lord intended. We're going to pick up where we left off. Sam, you want to start over again with your last, number 3?
Yes, my number 3, which is the Choke Slam from Hell. It's too early in the morning for that. Or maybe not early enough.
Ooh.
It chokes.
Oh, we lose him again?
Well, that interruption in our broadcast is brought to you by...
I'm attorney Jim Sokoloff. For over 16 years, my business has been personal injury law. We've helped many auto accident victims get the money they deserve. So if you're injured in an auto accident this winter, call us. We'll fight hard to get you everything you're entitled to. It costs nothing to talk to us.
Thank you, Jim Sokoloff.
Good for him.
Yeah, he
Sam, you
actually
back?
paid us a lot for that.
You did. He's like, I need to reach 12 people.
Who live in the New England area, because I don't think he was one of the national... Was he national?
No way.
No. That was just the first shyster lawyer commercial I can recall as a kid.
Sam, you here? Sam's dead.
He is not.
All right, well, what's your number 3?
Let me go ahead and I'll take his turn. This one, actually, I did get a good title for. It's called Yale Pitfall.
All right.
So I was doing some work a few years ago with my brother-in-law, Justin, who we've all come to know, at Yale University. And we're doing some radiation screening of equipment and facilities to free release it back into public use. Anyway, so there's all this heavy equipment and items that we're scanning with my instruments to make sure that they're deemed free to go. One of them was this giant circular metal plate, probably 5/8 thick, maybe, weighed at least 200 pounds and maybe 5 feet in diameter. I screened one side of it as it was laying flat on the floor, and then I have to screen the other side to make sure that's also good. So I wedge it up, get my hands under there, and I'm like, all right, I get it up to like knee height, and I'm like, this is very heavy. I'm going to have to give it a good push to stand it up and be able to flip it over. So in one fell swoop, I put everything I have into it, stand it up, and then realize that I'm falling into a hole. I stepped directly into a hole in the ground, which is why this plate was there in the first place. And there were people who knew about this watching me do this that never said anything. And around the edge of the hole, which was about, I'll say 3 feet wide. So, about the size of a manhole cover, maybe a little bigger. And all around it was a piece of equipment that used to be there that they cut away with torches. So it left just razor blade base rim around the edge of it, of metal. I was so lucky that I stepped directly into the center of this hole, and there was a basement underneath. I thought I was going down in the basement and maybe dying. This all in a one split second. This happened. All this stuff goes through my head. I'm like, okay, I'm falling, and I'm not sure why. Oh wait, there's a hole. Am I going to the basement? No, I land on my feet, 5 feet down. My knees like buckle, like stiff. And then in that same split second, I go, oh shit, I was holding something heavy. So I had to put my hands up and catch this fucking heavy metal lid over my head before it broke my neck.
Jesus.
And the 3 people that were standing around, one of them being Justin, 2 of the guys that work for Yale, looked like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you okay? I go, yeah, I think so. Because, shock is in effect. And I'm like, they're still standing still, and I can barely see them. I'm like, so can you pick this up? I'm still holding this 200-pound plate. They're like, oh, yeah. They come over, they lift the thing off, they go get a ladder so I can climb out of this freaking hole. And the injury was about a 2-inch scrape on my hip. Tore my jeans
Little
up.
angel almost came down and kissed you right on the forehead.
That's just it, man. Like, this was a circular hole, like I said, probably 36 inches with razor blades around it. If I was 4 inches this way or that way, it could have went right into the femoral, or the plate would have, fell on me, broke my back. But I landed straight up and was able to put my hands over my head before the thing hit me. It was fucking wild. And then they're like, one of the guys,
somewhere.
I should have. I really fucking should have. And that was going through my head immediately after, like, goddamn motherfuckers. Like, in the construction industry, you may know that whenever there's a hole that you have covered, you have to write hole on the thing that's covering it so people know. So, like, this is something I know. There was no reason for me to believe there was a pit under this thing. And one of the guys says, I was wondering what you were doing. I'm like, yo, thanks, buddy.
Thanks for the heads up.
Oh, he's trying to pick up that plate covering that hole. I better keep shooting this shit with Justin over here, which is what was going on.
And brutal.
Yeah, that's man. You ever like think you're done with like the stairs and there's one more and like just that feeling of like shock? I bet that was like that, but 1,000 times worse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, a lot went through my head, and 1 second it took me to fall, catch the thing, and like realize I was alive. But yeah, I was so close to the edge that it tore my jeans like 3/4 of the way down the side, but only cut me just a little bit.
So I have a kind of related story of catching something. I didn't get injured, but one time we were with like a basketball hoop, like a driveway basketball hoop where it's got like the weighted thing in the back. We put the thing up to 10 feet, and then we brought the whole thing down, and then we were taking turns holding on to the rim while everyone else pushed it back up. And because we're stupid kids. And it was my turn, so I laid down basically, and they pushed the basketball hoop all the way down. I grabbed onto the rim, and as they were pushing it up, they pushed it up so hard that it like basically just like kind of yanked me up, and halfway back up I slipped off the rim, and like I fell on my back, but then the thing was going up so fast that the basketball hoop went up, kicked back, like tilting back the other way with enough force to then come back down and fall forward. And it came all the way, it fell back down towards me. And I literally caught the rim. Like I caught the rim as it was crashing down on me. Like I swear to God, like 7 inches from my fucking throat. It was just like the perfect, like it's going to decapitate me if I didn't fucking catch it. I remember like I caught it and the whole like incident stopped and we all looked at each other just like, holy shit. Like, we're not doing this anymore. That was fucking, scary. It's scary.
Well, Sam, sounds like you're back to report your number 3.
Yes, I'm back, and I can't tell if I'm delayed or not.
You sound fine.
You're good.
Yeah, but I'm still delayed based on your reactions. This is fucking, it's brutal. It's brutal, but I will try to tell my chokeslam from hell story. So when you guys were kids, did you play wrestle with friends?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I almost broke my cousin's neck.
So do not try this at home, or like, we're definitely trying this at home. Come on. But I used to do karate when I was a kid, and in the basement of the karate studio there was like some room that was just like full of pads. So it was like, I don't know, like I think that was a room for stretching, but also they just had a shit ton of like yoga mat type pads or whatever in the corner. So this is of course where we all would wrestle. And I had one friend that was like, and Will, to your point earlier, like of being a small kid, I'm like, I'm not a large adult. So so I was a very small kid. But there was one kid that was like really small. And so it's like, oh, finally, someone that I can do all the moves to. And so we're picking this kid up for a choke slam. But I didn't realize, like, I knew basically how it was done. Like, you know, you wouldn't just actually pick them up by their neck and throw them, because that's insane. You would more or less lift them by their back with your hand around their throat and then bring them down. So I did that. And then, but his body weight came down entirely on my hand, which was, think about like the blade side of my hand, like my pinky, like straight on the ground, and so it crunched my hand, and and so I learned something about the human anatomy. Fun, you know, on your hand, like each one of your fingers has like a bone that runs into your hand, except for your middle finger and your ring finger. Those two bones join like at one point as they enter your hand, and that's why like some people can't do the like the Star Trek like Spock thing, or like the Vader sign. They can't do that because like those two bones are joined right there. And I learned that specifically because that's exactly where I broke my hand. Broke the shit out of me on my mom's birthday. So it was like, happy birthday, Mom, we're going to the ER. And the shitty thing is that when I broke my wrist before when I was a kid, that was my left wrist, but I'm right-handed, but this was my right hand, and I was in 8th grade, I think. So, you know, it was time to like do real things at school, like write and do tests and shit like that, but I couldn't write. I couldn't hold the pencil or write. And I remember being so frustrated with the fact that I couldn't do this most basic thing that I remember during the test.
That's brutal. So, in your house, you could never declare that it's Vader time now?
No, I definitely
I don't know
can.
if I could
Luckily,
live.
I came back. Listen, I made a full recovery from that injury, and listen, what time is it? It's time. It's Vader time.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, breaking my hand was definitely the most frustrating injury that I've ever had, and I had to learn to do a lot of things with my left hand. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them.
All right,
I'll just say that before my connection fucking ducks out again.
Fair. Alrighty. All right, I'll go next. My number 3 it's titled Tooth Again. So I was 16 or 17, working at a Dunkin' Donuts. Okay. I'm working at a Dunkin' Donuts. I'm 16, 17 years old. I have like my first date like the next day. Like my first date that I'm actually excited about with like a girl that I actually like, that I somehow pulled this off. And I'm like pumped. I'm having a good time. I'm working at Dunkin' Donuts. It's break time. I'm like, I'm going to have a ham, egg, and cheese on an onion bagel. Cool. Make it. Go to the back, sit down, bite into the bagel. Boop. Tooth breaks again. So now my teeth are already the way they are, and one's broken. So, very excited. I freak out as if I don't already have such absolute fucking stigma about my teeth, and I'm going on a date with a girl who I'm surprised even agreed to do this in the first place. I was like, I was fucking panicked. Absolutely panicked.
At that point in your life, less of those teeth were better.
I agree. If it just removed itself, but not broken, I would have been like, well,
no, broken is way worse. You're right.
Broken's worse. But I like called my mom in like a fucking freak out, and she was able to book me like an emergency dentist appointment that day. But oh my God, what an absolute traumatic experience. I can smell the break room of that Dunkin' Donuts thinking about when this happened. It was crazy. And then went on my date, became my first girlfriend. This girl I lost my virginity to. Things worked out pretty good. Pretty good.
Made a whole band dedicated to her.
Made a whole band. Wrote a lot of songs about her after we broke up. Did the whole thing. The whole thing that a person in my situation would do. I still talk to this person to this day.
Great person.
Yeah, it's good person. No problems.
Oh, good. So we shouldn't call her out by her full name on the podcast.
Rachel Carnes. And that's her name. If you Google her name, you'll probably find out when she was brutally struck by a truck at UMass Lowell. Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, you did tell that story.
I did tell that story. That's her. That's a girl. I also think I told her, like, after like we were dating for a few months of the what happened with my tooth. And this is also the girl that I was dating at the time I was accused of being a kidnapper. A lot of life
story
events.
is incredible as well.
Yeah. A lot of life events happened when I was dating this person. And then speaking of the Rockingham Mall, that's where she broke up with me in the parking lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Rockingham Mall keeps coming back.
I love that.
Yeah. That parking lot's busy too.
Yeah. Yeah, we pulled up and things were different. I was like, something's going on. And then like the whole thing happened. I was like, all right.
Well, it looks like pulling up, so you didn't even get to go to the mall and have a good time?
No, I think we still went. I think we still went.
You fucking loser.
Oh, yeah, big time, dude.
I would have called a taxi and paid $200 to get home.
Yeah. Well, I was driving. She didn't even drive at the time, I don't think.
That makes you worse of a loser.
Oh, yeah. I was like, fine, I'll bring you home and I'll take you to the store you wanted to go to.
Did you buy her ear gauges at Hot Topic?
No, she didn't have gauge ears. Don't be a fool, Will.
You bought her lingerie for her new boyfriend.
I can see.
I hope he likes it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my other tooth story. Fucking listen. You don't understand how much strength your teeth get from just being next to your other teeth. When they're by themselves, they're not as strong as normal.
That's why orthodontia is so important, folks.
Kaylee's. It is. Kaylee's cousin Elena, when she started dental school, I asked her, I was like, listen, you got 4 years to figure this out. I want you to tell me by the time you graduated, are teeth strong enough to eat other teeth? And then she was like, what? And then 4 years later, it's her graduation. It's like, congratulations. By the way, are teeth strong enough to eat other teeth?
That's a good question.
What
was the answer?
Awesome.
I believe her answer was that there are teeth that are less dense than other teeth, depending on your genetics and your general health. So technically, yes, certain teeth would be able to eat other teeth.
Nature's metal.
Nature's metal.
I
want to
eat your teeth.
Will, you're up.
All right, number two's. I think we're all out of order, but fuck it. My number 2 is titled Broken Ankle.
Yep.
So this one I almost didn't put on because it's a little too embarrassing. But I was out with the boys, including Justin and my sister, my wife Rosa, who's not my wife at the time, but we were downtown in our lovely city of Haverhill having a nice night out, drinking to excess. It got to the point where we were ready to go home. There was a whole shit show about where's the car and how we're going to get there. And there was a lot of animosity between all parties. Justin and I, in the middle of everything, just strolled off and went and got 2 slices of pizza down the street.
Nice.
Then when we come back to enraged, women, well-deserved, it was just a shit show. And I ended up at some point in this whole affair calling my now wife Rosa the C word, and she was not happy about that. But in my defense, I didn't call her that. I said, "You're acting like a cunt. It's different." She was also a little banged up and really had to pee, which added a whole level. Anyone who's been with a woman who has to pee, you understand that's, a state of emergency. So that put an extra edge on everything. We finally got into my sister's minivan. They were waiting for me and Justin to come back with the pizza, which I don't think we bought any for them either. So we come to find out Rosa had to pee so bad. She emptied out one of my nephew's Halloween pumpkin, the regular pumpkin baskets you take for trick-or-treating.
Mm-hmm.
She emptied one of those out of candy and then urinated in it inside the minivan. So, to make a long story short, we finally get back to the house, and she threw the pumpkin of piss into a dumpster at some random business. So sorry if you were the owner there. We get back to the house, she has to pee again and goes into the bathroom. Meanwhile, I fall down the stairs and break my ankle, and I am in a heap at the bottom of the stairs in immense amount of pain. I could not get myself up, and she leaves the bathroom, starts coming downstairs, and just starts laughing at me, which was very nice. And finally she realizes that I'm really fucked up. She helps me up. She's like, "Oh my God, dude, like you can't walk." I'm like, "It's fine. Go to bed." So I hobble to bed. She wakes me up like 4 or 5 hours later and touches my ankle. And that's what wakes me up in excruciating pain. Like, it's like somebody just shot me. Just like, "Whoa, what's that?" And she's like, "I just touched it." She's like, "You need to go to the hospital." So we went. It was broken. It sucked. Spent all day there. Dealt with this dirty doctor. And then they hounded her, which I didn't even hear about until yesterday when we were recanting the story, that she ended up paying like the copay of like $400 because I had shitty insurance at the time. So it's a terrible event. And I was broken leg at work for a while. Still expected to do everything normally. Terrible. But she stuck with me.
Was that when Justin was pushing you around in an office chair?
No, that one could have made the list, but it didn't.
Oh, okay.
That was a less severe ankle injury, but yeah, I got pushed through the streets in an office chair of Boston onto the train and to Haverhill on the chair the whole way.
I'm still caught up on the pumpkin full of piss part.
Yeah, I had to clear that with Rosa while we had the conversation. I'm like, I wasn't going to tell that story because that part to me was like the funniest, and I don't want to talk bad about you. And she's just like, "Yeah, whatever." She's like, "What, is 8 people going to hear it? Who cares?"
Who hasn't? Who hasn't pissed inside a pumpkin before?
She made a point to tell me too. Like, she didn't sit down and do it. She stood up in the car and like waving back and forth. And I can just imagine one of my nephews the next day going like, "Where's all my candy? And where's my trick-or-treating pumpkin basket?" And they're like, "Oh, it's scattered across the floor of the dirty minivan." But your mother and I had fun last night.
That's good.
Oh, goodness.
It's a wholesome story.
Yeah.
All right, so now who's up?
All right.
Sam?
My number two. My number two is titled Like a Hero. So let's see. I have to describe. So our old apartment, Kaylee and our old apartment. Actually, it's kind of shaped like this RV. It was like a loft, like a converted like artist loft type apartment where it had one gigantic room and then a super long hallway that ran like back down to like the bedroom and the bathroom. And so I'm way on one side of that super long hallway. I think I'm in our bedroom. And I hear from the great room, which also has a tiny little kitchen, I just hear this blood curdling scream. And so, me, like a hero, just comes running, just sprinting towards the sound of the scream without hesitation. I get to the kitchen, which has linoleum on the floor instead of carpet, and immediately fall backwards, like as hard as I've ever fallen. Try to catch my balance, take a glass off the counter with me, come down like onto it hard, come down like directly on top of the glass, on top of my elbow, everything. Turns out what had happened is that the maintenance had been there earlier in the day trying to fix our sink, and Kaylee had gone to use the sink. It was not put together properly, and so when she turned on the water, it sprayed her directly in the face. And so that's the scream that I heard. This is the scream that I heard, and what I didn't realize as I sprinted full speed down my hallway is that my linoleum kitchen floor had about an inch of water on it. Oof. And so that's why I slipped so fucking hard. When I came down and I was like, I just broke my arm. I was like, I'm 100% sure that I just broke my arm because of how hard I hit my fucking elbow on the linoleum. And so, she turns off the water and she's screaming, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Are you okay? What's happening?" So much confusion happening at that very moment. And then she's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I'm pretty sure my arm's broken. I just need a minute." And so like I gave myself a minute and I like slowly bent my arm. You're doing that thing where you're just like, is this gonna work? And like it did, it bent. And I was like, okay, I guess I didn't break my arm. That's great. And then I see the fact that I've cut the absolute shit out of myself because it came down on the glass. So I guess the injury is avoiding a broken arm, but basically giving a Macho Man Randy Savage elbow drop to like a fucking glass.
We'll get it started after this.
Oh, that was my fault.
Okay. No, that's all right. I was gonna say, did I duck out again? That's good. Yeah, the injury was, okay, and I healed up and I've since gotten tattooed over whatever scars I might have on that arm, anyways. But other than that, a funny story where I swoop in to save the day and almost kill myself.
Jesus Christ.
A boop. Anyone ever received an injury while being a hero?
I don't know.
I'm a good hero. I don't fuck up.
Let's see. Am I up next?
Sure. Are you on number 2?
Number 2. All right. So my number 2 is foot fracture. So I fractured my foot when I was a young boy playing a little two-hand touch football in the street with, again, friend of the show, Justin, who I blame him for this foot fracture because he is a terrible quarterback. And the only way to catch a throw from Justin is to leap and jump in ridiculous ways to get the ball that isn't near where you need it to be. So that's what happened. He threw a pass. I had to jump up as high as I could to grab it. And then on my way down, I stepped in a way that fractured my foot. And that was the first and only time I needed a cast. So I got the cast, did the whole thing. My leg was, how long? I don't know. I don't remember how long I had the cast on for, but I remember when I took it off, it was like my leg is noticeably smaller than my other leg, which is a thing that happens with cast. But
Atrophy?
yeah, I guess so, yeah. But like, I'd say less than halfway through it, I wasn't even on crutches anymore. I was just walking around with a cast. Not like a walking cast. It was a regular cast. I was just walking around. And it sucked. I like went to school. I remember someone like knocked my hat off my head and like I chased them in school with my cast on.
That's a funny visual.
It was fun. But it was funny because they didn't think I was going to run after him. And then it was funny because I was running with the cast. Yeah, nothing stunk, and I just stepped all again. I was just walking around with a cast for like the last 2.5 weeks, probably, of having it on. And then I got there. They're like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know, fine." I'm like walking on it. They're like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that." I'm like, "Yeah, I know I shouldn't, but I am, and it's fine." But everything healed the way it was supposed to, and got the cast off, and it was great. Getting your cast off is crazy because I use that saw that doesn't cut skin but does cut through the cast.
Your first cast cutting is terrifying, and then you're like, I started cracking up. The first time
I don't understand
because
how
I was like, this doesn't hurt, but he's sawing my fucking skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what magic that is, but it's pretty neat.
Tiny magic saw.
Mm-hmm. It cuts everything but you. Then he cut off my underwear. I was like, Doc.
Whoa. I feel like the moral of the story for you, Matt, is that you should never jump.
Yeah, I'm not a jumper.
I was going to say, Justin can't throw a ball of any kind with any kind of accuracy, but if you can't jump, that's on you.
No, I successfully jumped and caught the pass. It's the landing that's just the issue. I'm just a big old bowl of fat.
That's your fault. It wasn't a combine tryout. You're just fucking on 8th Ave, like a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, I needed to make sure that I won.
I bet I am. I bet it was a Nerf ball with a big chunk taken out of it, but that's all you guys had.
No, I forget what it was. It was like a football. It was like a normal football.
Well, that's unfortunate because you need your feet.
It's true. I was on crutches, and crutches suck, and it was whatever. But that was the only time I needed a cast. But yeah, that's my number 2, the foot fracture. Will, number 1?
This one I titled Breaking Both Wrists. Whew. And as you can tell, it's twice as bad as my number 4. So this one started off a little backstory here. It involves GoPeds. And people of our age remember these scooters that came out in the early 2000s. GoPed was the name brand one. You could get gas-powered scooters online for $200. Like, what a time to be alive, as far as we were concerned. Now these damn scooters are a nuisance, but that's beside the point. I remember the first one that I bought in share with my friend Kevin. We paid it was $90. We both put in $45 to buy it. And then eventually I would acquire my own nicer one. And then we had a crew. We had a fucking gas scooter GoPed gang. And we would be cruising down the streets of Haverhill late night. And this one particular night, a car pulled up alongside us on River Street, which, it's a 45-mile-an-hour zone. They started slowing down, and we kind of looked over our shoulder like something's up here. And then all of a sudden, these guys just started rifling beer cans at us. And, even like just afterwards, I was like, that was really fucking funny because none of the full ones hit us. So we didn't get hurt. We didn't get knocked off. I got a couple grazings from empties, but just to be like, I thought those guys were cool, even though I was their victim. Just
man, I want to be like them.
Look at these two fucking geeks. Let's get them. So anyway, going forward, I have the GoPed. The one I have, is mine. I go to my friend Steve's house the next week and I'm like, oh, let me try yours. The difference was my brakes were very spongy. His brakes were very tight. I'm going down the road on his GoPed at his house, which I drove all the way from Haverhill to like over by Ski Bradford, which is a pretty good ride for a 14-year-old on a scooter. But anyway, so I'm going down and I decide I want to slow down just a little bit. So I squeeze it as if it was mine. The wheels lock up and I immediately just launch my face and hands into the pavement from literally 20 miles an hour to in the ground. And, you're in shock again. I get up. First thing I'm thinking about is, shit, did I ruin my friend's go bed? And this harkens back to, I think Sam said it, this lady who's sitting on our porch and goes, like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Little did I know I had like a 3-inch cut on my forehead, which is
man.
right where you want a cut if you want a lot of blood.
Right at the hairline.
It didn't dawn on me at the time that I was even bleeding. I pick up the GoPed and I go back to my friend's house. My left wrist looks like there's a tennis ball under it.
Oh man.
And I'm bleeding from the face, but I don't realize this. I go up to my friends and they're just like, holy fuck, what happened to you? And I'm like, well, I fell off. I go, I think it's fine. Don't worry about it. If your GoPed's broken, I'll pay for it. And they're like, no, man, you're covered in blood. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, I did fall. I go, I think my wrist is the problem, and I hold it up, and it's just like limp.
It's like an S.
I said, this huge. Jesus Christ! The kid's mom comes out, and she's just mind's blown. Like, it was the first time I ever saw double. I didn't know that was a real thing, but I started seeing double. But my friend's mom comes out, and she's like, "Holy shit!" This is like the one time ever too where my mom was in a meeting where she was unavailable on the phone. So my friend's mom goes, I'm going to take him to the Hale Hospital, the local one here. But my mom knows that that's a shitty hospital, or it was at the time. Still is. So I end up getting in touch with my sisters, who were like 16, 17 at the time. And they start arguing, like, we got to go get him. And my older sister goes, well, I'll just be real quick in Old Navy and then we'll go get him. my youngest sister thankfully was like, no, she said he's bleeding and his wrist is broken, we should go there now. And then my older sister goes, well, I'd at least go home and put away the ice cream we just brought. So my older sister's kind of an asshole. But I ended up with 2 broken wrists. I ended up with 2 broken wrists, like the worst. You can't do shit. You're basically a robot. And a couple weeks later, my cousin Ian would always come up for the summers and spend like the whole summer. And so we sat him down, me and my mom, and my mom told him that, Will's got 2 broken wrists. You guys can still do everything and hang out, but he may need help in the bathroom when he has to do number 2s. And just sold him this story that I couldn't wipe my own ass. And God love you, Ian. He was like, all right. But we were just fucking with him. I was able to wipe my own ass. But he was ready to go, and I appreciated that. Another part of this, my mom came into the high school with me when I was ready to go back to school to make sure that I was accommodated, whatever. And I see one of my buddies walking down the hall, and he goes, holy shit, Will, both arms? How are you supposed to jerk off? As I'm walking down the hall with my mother. It's like, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. And yeah, the other thing, talking about the cast getting removed, I had 3 pins in my wrist, like 6-inch pins to get things in alignment, because one of them was pretty bad. And when they went to remove those, you know what he pulled out? A pair of fucking common pliers. And I was just like, holy shit, like this is gonna kill. And he grabbed the first pin and he like wrenched it around like it was like a rusty nail. No pain. Really unbelievable. Modern science.
That's kind of awful.
Yeah, both wrists down at the same time
Science.
is tough. That's a tough life.
Fuck
How
that.
long were you still for?
I think like my right wrist was cast in for like 4 weeks, and the other one was like 8 because it was pretty fucked up. Yeah, don't recommend breaking both your wrists at the same time.
No, unless you
and wear a helmet.
unless you're trying to work an angle where you need to be like Cowboy Bob Orton, keep that wrist cast on.
And that also reminded me, the most painful part of that whole thing was the Novocaine or anesthetic they put in my forehead for 3 stitches.
Oh,
Was the most painful part of the whole thing. It felt like they put the needle in 6 inches, but
that sounds awful.
yeah, would have been happier just stitching it without it.
Sounds terrible. All right, I'll do my number 1 here. This is the obvious one, and it is my shoulders. every time my shoulders. I've told this story before, I know, but I'll tell it again for any new listeners out there. My shoulders dislocate quite a bit. But one time, I dislocated my shoulder while I was moshing, and I did it really bad. And before that had happened, I had dislocated my shoulder a couple times, but that always popped back in on its own. But when I did it when I was moshing, it did not pop in back on its own at all. I had to go by ambulance to the hospital, which sucked. The whole thing sucked. And I was in Worcester, right? It's like 45 minutes from my house. My parents had to come get me. I wasn't old enough to drive. I didn't have like my license or anything. A friend had brought us there, and then basically went with me to the hospital. And we waited there for like my mom to come get us both. And that fucking sucked. The guy was able to get it back in like the craziest of ways. And I swear to God, he bet people about this, because I had a bunch of people watching him do this. Like normal ER visit, I have like a nurse to come in, blah 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 blah. Then like a doctor would come in. The doctor came in and like took a look. He's like, "All right, I'll be back." And then he comes back with like 7 people, and he's like, "All right, watch this."
No.
And I mean, good on him. He got it back in, but like basically what he did is he like slowly like took my arm, and he just very slowly moved it in a way, very slowly, very slowly, very slowly, and then eventually just went and popped back in. He's like, "There you go." And like everyone was like, "Yay," and clap for him like it was like a magic trick. But so then he put me in a sling, and he gave me another part of the sling that like wrapped around my body to keep my arm attached to me the whole time. And I was like, "Okay, this is over. This sucks." He's like, "All right, follow up with the orthopedic, and you can be on your way." Great. Finally get home like 1:30 in the morning. I can't sleep. Because of the fucking sling and the cast. I'm like, fuck this. I was like, it's popped in before. This has happened before. It's whatever. I'll just be careful. So I get out of bed. I take the wrap around my body off. I take the sling off. I put them on my bureau. I literally turn around to get back in bed with the arm in question. I go to get in bed. When my fingertips touch my mattress, my shoulder dislocates immediately. Instantly.
Oh.
Now I have to go. It's like, 2 in the morning pretty much. I have to go and tell my mom, like, "Hey, my arm popped out again. I need to go back to the hospital." So now she brings me back. And this time I'm at a different hospital. I'm at the Hale Hospital that Will has already mentioned. And now, like, there's no like magic doctor with the trick. They give me Demerol, which is crazy because I don't do drugs. So I don't know what drugs is like. And it was fucked up. I remember the guy like putting it in my IV, and then just me like looking forward, and then just like everything's fine, and it was just like, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then I don't remember anything, and I woke up and my arm was back in, and it was fine, and like then it was whatever. What had so then I go to. Now I don't take the wrap off. I don't make the same mistake twice. I go to the orthopedic surgeon the next day or two. He has me take my stuff off. He walks in. He just grabs my shoulder with his hand and just like gives it the littlest squeeze. Just the littlest squeeze. And he goes, "Oh, okay." He's like, "You need surgery tomorrow." I was like, "What?" No, like checking. No, didn't even ask questions. He just walked in, just grabbed my shoulder, touched it with his hand, and scheduled me for surgery. Because what had happened is so your shoulder is like, it's a ball joint, right? It's got the ball of the joint, and then it goes into your shoulder socket. And there's tendons. There's 3 tendons that attach to the ball of that joint that keep it in the socket. I severed all 3 of them moshing. So I had nothing holding the joint in its socket. It just was floating in there. That's why when I turned around and put my fingers on the mattress, it just fell out again. So I had to get those all reattached. And I did, and I had the surgery, and the guy This is what I boast about quite a bit. The doctor is like this like renowned orthopedic. He's like, the surgery went well. He's like, you have very thick, dense muscle tissue. I was like, hell yeah, brother. He said it took a while to cut through it. And I was like, yeah, dude, I know. And then while I was getting physical therapy afterwards, my physical therapist was like, you gotta work out. He's like, you are just built for it. I was like, yeah, well, I mean, I get it. I'm Adonis, but but he was like, he was like really trying to sell me on like the career I could have if I like worked out. And I was like, I'm a rock star, dude. But I get it. I am, like I said, I'm Barney Rubble chested. I'm all stocky. I got that thickness to me.
Oh, gee, Fred.
Hey, Fred. But yeah, that was it. And now I dislocated my other arm once before, and luckily didn't need surgery. And now I'm super, super, super cautious about it, and it hasn't happened again since. Knock on wood. So that's my number one.
Tough.
Sucks.
Tough one.
Yeah, that's.
And I loved volleyball when I was a kid, and I
no
can't
more
play
high
anymore.
fives for you.
Nope, no more high fives. Nope, not at all.
You can't swat a bat out of the air.
No, I have to wait for it to fly directly below my elbows. But so
You gave me a pretty good high five last time I saw you. That's when I noticed that your pinky was all fucking weird.
my pinky's weird.
Yeah. Like you have a high 5.5.
Why?
Your pinky's at a weird angle. It sticks out more than all your other fingers.
Why yours don't?
No, they're perfect. I could model teenage girls' watches with these hands.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm looking at my hands now.
You see how the pinky is sticking way the hell out? Like weird?
Yeah, that's not normal.
Yeah. No,
Fuck that.
it's gross.
I'm right.
It's probably
you're
why you're
wrong.
good at guitar.
Maybe that's it.
Get that extra reach.
I got pretty good reach for someone with not gigantic hands. Yeah, that's my number one. Sam.
Sam.
What
What?
my number one is called acne medication.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. You were chemically burned, weren't you?
So, yeah. Yes. So, but not in the way that you think. So this was so we had a big conference coming up. It was our first big conference that we were going to speak at. This was Photoshop World in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the fucking Mandalay Bay Casino in 2017, I think, maybe 16, something like that. But I had been dealing with like rosacea or something on my face, and I just gone the longest time with like not doing anything about it. So I was like, all right, let me try doing something about it and seeing if I can get this to go away before I have to be like on stage in front of like a bunch of people. So me not having health insurance, I was just like, I could go down to like the CVS like Minute Clinic and just see if like they can prescribe some sort of like face wash or something. So it's never a good sign when the quote unquote doctor that you're working with has to consult a gigantic book in order to come up with the solution for what you need. So she's going through this book, and I'm like, all right, listen, I guess she probably knows better than I do. Probably. And so she's like, all right, you need this antibiotic. And I was like, okay, I'll try this antibiotic. That's fine. And she's like, just do that, and just keep washing your face and blah blah blah. And so I take the antibiotic for a couple of days, and then there's one day where that feeling where you like a pill just kind of gets lodged in your throat for just like a second. It's like not like a big deal,
Yeah.
Like you're not choking. You're just like, oh, like I gotta drink a little bit more and get this pill down. Whatever had happened, this capsule that I had swallowed got lodged in my throat and just dissolved there, and basically unloaded all of its fucking chemicals directly into my esophagus, and it gave me a burn on my esophagus that was the most painful thing I've ever experienced. And it was there constantly. Every time I would talk, swallow, like drink, anything like that. And I had to go to Las Vegas and go, speak at this conference with this crazy burned esophagus. So I was basically in like the most pain I've ever been in 24/7. Could barely sleep, anything like that, but showed no signs of being injured. So I just had to just interact with people and smile, and then go off into the corner and try to like cry as I like choked down some soup or something like that. And this lasted for about 2 weeks. just fucking
Jesus.
brutal.
Sam, the solution to this is you just drink water with your pills, like afterwards too. Right on the bottle.
Yeah, I mean, let's have with water. Yeah, I don't know. It happened either pretty quickly, or like I fixed it enough where I didn't think it was there anymore or something. And holy shit, would not recommend. 0 out of 10 stars. Just awful. So I forget the name of the antibiotic, but when I Googled it, other people had this exact same thing happen to them, which was fucking wild. I thought that was just a total freak thing, but no, people were like, yeah, this happened to me too, and it was misery. So yeah, my number one is trying acne medication for the first time.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I feel bad for, I don't know, good doctors these days.
Oh, for sure.
Because the whole appeal to authority thing kind of got totally exposed with the COVID thing of like you said, like, oh, I assume that they know what they're doing. And the fact that doctors are just human beings was just aggressively reminded to everyone. It's just like, they're just humans. Like, you work with people, right? Like, you work with people in your job, and some people you work with are fucking idiots. But to people who don't work in whatever industry you work in, they'd be like, oh, this person works in this field, so they must be the authority on it. But you would be like, no, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're doing. Medicine's no different.
100%.
Medicine's no different. I mean, every profession is no different. They're just human beings. Like that guy who got my shoulder in, like without having to like give me any like medication, like cool, good doctor. The other guy, fine, but like just like anything else, there's different levels of it. And I'm very happy that more people are a lot more like guarded and won't just be like, well, the doctor said this, so it must be true. And if you still think that way, I can't help you. I hope you only organically run into the best doctors.
Man, I haven't seen like too many doctors, luckily, but like I have gone to see a lot of different vets for Junie's issues, and especially since we've been traveling, I've probably seen 10 to 12 different vets, and every single one of them has had like a completely different like opinion and like I'll explain the situation, and some people are like, what's that again, and they don't even know what I'm talking about, and I'm just like, holy shit!
Yeah.
If I had only seen you. You know what I mean? Like that's
right, yeah.
It's not great. So yes, there are absolutely very varying levels of doctors in every profession out there. So just because they have a PhD doesn't mean that they know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, not at all. So be vigilant out there, people, is all I'm saying. But I think that's the show, kind of, or whatever it is now at this point.
We made it.
We made it, everybody. I don't know if we have any lists. Do we have any lists?
Yes, we do have a few. Some of them are very long, but I do want to get in our last ad read real quick. This show has been brought to you by
Toplog.com. To presents.
So thank you to Top Log Daw for supporting the show.
Yeah, I can run through these. I'm looking at them now. From Ryan Brown, my man. Number 5, got stitches from trying to whittle with a modeling knife. The incident happened while my mom was hosting a party and she had to kick everyone out and drive me to the emergency room. Number 4, food poisoning that caused me to have my poop desperately during a company run in the Army. I ended up dropping out of the run, shitting upwards of 30 times on the 2-mile walk back to the base, and then got hospitalized and put on a morphine drip because the doctor suspected appendicitis. My butthole was burning and bloody for days. You're welcome. Number 3, sprained my ankle when my friend's dad started driving while I was halfway in the car twice. That's funny. Number 2, burned my arm when the lid blew off my espresso machine. I wrapped my arm in gauze and went to trapeze lessons later that day. The pain from being gripped on the fleshless forearm while 50 feet in the air was excruciating. What life do you live, Ryan Brown?
That to be true. I hope it's true.
Number 1, went blind for a month after missing a header in soccer. The impact of the ball caused a blood clot behind my eyes, and for some reason, my sickle cell trait activated, making it difficult to clear the clot. Ryan Brown, were you created in a lab? Anyway, Kevin Weaver.
Wow.
Number 5, the time I was in a bathtub as a kid, I hit my head on the soap holder and got stitches. Number 4, the time I hit my head on the hope chest and got staples in my head. Number 3, that time on the top 5 of death when I said I would use my time machine to go back in time and see my now fiance as a kid and got absolutely roasted by everyone. It was meant to be in a completely innocent way. Yeah, we know that, but it's funnier the way we say it. Number 2, the time I was climbing up a light pole, slipped and had just below my knee sliced open by an electrical outlet cover. And number 1, the LASIK eye surgery I just had. They cut and peel back the lens of your eye, reshape the cornea with a laser, and then I hate this. And then you are out of it for the rest of the day and have significant restrictions following. So I'm counting it. Fuck that. A Wonder Lump says, number 5, the time I sneezed and my back seized up while I was in high school. Still don't know what the hell happened, but I missed a day of high school because I couldn't move, basically. Then it just went away mysteriously later that night. I felt crazy old, even though I was probably only 16 for one day. Number 4, the time I was playing full contact tackle football on the playground in middle school during lunch and ended up getting knocked over a slope and somehow slid down on one of my shoulders. Ended up with a huge patch of scraped off skin that made showers a nightmare for the next 2 weeks. Number 3, the time in 4th grade when I gouged out a chunk of my knee falling on a really rough asphalt that they had back in the day. Oh, I know that, in the 90s. I definitely, oh my God, 100%. They couldn't even give me stitches because it was just like a crater. Number 2, the time I punched my front door and didn't realize I broke the pinky bone inside my right hand and then went to work a shift. On top of that, when I got to work, I learned somebody called in, so I had to cover a position where I had to quickly grab cottage cheese containers and pack them in crates. It was excruciating, but I went to the doctor the next day and learned it was broken. And number 1, when I quickly walked past a guardrail at work and didn't pull my hand in close enough, so my knuckle got caught in the rails and snapped the ring finger bone inside my left hand. Oh my God. I had to have surgery to realize it. Jesus. Oh, B. Davis, our resident professional wrestler, blacked out in a wrestling match because my head hit the top rope because my arm missed the rope when I was shot into them, causing me to go in between the ropes. It hurt, caused whiplash, but luckily it caused me to go back towards the ring. I couldn't see for a good 2 minutes. I could hear everything, though. I had to tell my opponent to go for the pin and then go for a rest hold. Number 4, my head was split open by a chair shot in the ring. The finish of the match was supposed to be a stop sign shot to the head. The guy, who was very unprofessional, came at me with a chair, and I put my hand up like most do. He picked me back up and swung the chair again, busting me open. I have a very large scar from it. Number 3, when I was about 7, my brother swung the front door, busting me in the face. When I was number 2, I was playing a pickup game of basketball at a local gym. I blocked the shot, slamming the ball down, and it came back up, hitting me in the face, breaking my nose. Oh, what a nerd. Number 1 was on a friend's shoulders, and another guy came up, lifted my ankles, causing me to fall back. I put my arms down to catch myself of instinct and broke both wrists.
Oh, 2 wrists. Terrible.
TJ Doubleday. Number 5, when I was a young lad, I got a thread wrapped around one of my toes. When my mother took me out of the crib, she noticed I had blood on my pajamas. She took my foot out and saw that my toe was cut all the way to the bone, all the way around. Oh my God.
Jesus. What are you from the 40s?
Yeah, he's pretty old. He's not that old though. I hope the next one's like when I got polio. Number 4. I was out sledding with my brother and the hill was icy. I slid down, fell off my sled, and there was a broken glass beer bottle frozen into the hill. I ended up cutting my leg. The glass went through 2 pairs of jeans and long johns. Wow. Number 3, I was running to answer a house phone and stubbed my toe and immediately broke my toe on a gap on the floor. My big toe looked like the L piece from Tetris.
Hey, Matt, can I go back 1 second?
Sure.
Sledding in 2 pairs of jeans. Hell yeah.
That's how you do it.
That's all.
Number 2, we were cleaning up a shop at work, getting ready to move. Someone threw a steel door off the mezzanine into a pile of trash. I got a piece of glass in my eye, which cut my eye. The green part opened up. The white part was sticking out, causing me to need eye surgery. I ended up getting 4 stitches inside my eyeball during the surgery. Number 1, when I was 3 years old, I was chasing my sister around for a balloon and tripped over the fireplace. I put my head through the glass water bubbler bottle that was full of coins and ended up getting 79 stitches in his head.
79.
You know what?
Holy
He
fuck.
has a brutal scar on his head, and that must be what that is. 79 stitches.
At 3 years old, you have a small head.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Daniel Sepultura. Number 5, dislocated shoulder, fell playing soccer. Number 4, broken finger that had to be surgically replaced playing football. Number 3, broken arm, also playing soccer, fell off and landed awkwardly. Number 2, cut part of a tendon of my thumb on my right hand because I was being dumb and cut towards me with a new blade at one of my old jobs. They paid to have it fixed and I lost 5% movement. Number 1, when I broke 2 ribs and fractured my T12 vertebrae at a mechanic job, I jumped into the pit because we were pushing a car in because it wouldn't start, and I lost track of where the edge was and decided to jump in because if I didn't, I would have tripped. And well, I landed on my feet, but I ended up hurting my back and fell on concrete. That's how I broke my ribs, along with fracturing my spine. And number 0, when he injured his heart, not dating a lady.
Ouch.
Stuck it there, buddy. We got to have Daniel Sepultura. We got to get you on the show. He's too much of an important person to not see what he's all about. Let me know. But that's our list. And any final words?
Robot Sam?
Robot Sam?
I hope this is listenable.
Maybe. We'll see. All right. We'll catch you next week. We'll get you figured out. Smell you later.